All right, so today we're talking about the 2003 Clint Eastwood film, Mystic River. I bought it for $2 at a used Blu-ray DVD vinyl store. It's this weird snappable DVD that isn't just like all the normal ones. I thought it was cool, but then I looked it up, and apparently people just hate it because like there's these weird released DVD formats that just like doesn't snap very well made of cardboard. So whatever. As long as it's like the only one in my collection, it'll stick out and be cool for that fact. So I just need to make sure I don't get any other that style kind of Blu-rays. But yes, we are talking about Mystic River, Clint Eastwood, 2003. And I do have a few thoughts on it. I really do like this kind of murder mystery, regular family trying to figure out why this happened to them, things like that. Gone Baby Gone, Gone Girl, things like that. But it just left me wanting more. You know what? Live right now, I'm going to take it down a start. Just because it's left a sour taste in my mouth. For a few reasons that I'll get to in a moment. So, before we get into any spoiler territory at all, so the movie was made on a $25 to $30 million budget. I saw both those numbers somewhere, so somewhere in that range, and it made $156 million, almost like six-tupling the budget. But yeah, made a lot of money, and in 2003, this definitely seemed like the kind of movie that makes money. In 2003, like, the Oscar performances were like so easy to point fingers at. I'm saying this like I was in 2003, but it just seems like such an Oscar bait movie and just such a classic. People are going to eat this up. Even though dramas nowadays aren't as eaten up metaphorically, I feel like this was all the rage back then. And yeah, I guess the worldwide gross kind of supports that. So, Clint Eastwood, everyone knows him. He's a legend. And okay, good. I wanted to look at his director stuff rather than his acting. But Clint Eastwood, in my opinion, has like 2 really good movies and a bunch of just like average movies that have been done better. And I think that's my main point of Mystic River. You've seen this movie done better. Because I think it's 2 amazing movies. Amazing. Are Unforgiven. Probably my favorite Western of all time. And Bridges of Madison County. Which is no brooding action, death, just action thriller kind of movie like that. It's just a romance movie, and it works great. Granted, I haven't seen all of his movies. I have not seen $1 Million Baby, so maybe that one's great too. But I've seen American Sniper, Gran Torino, Mystic River, Unforgiven, Bridges of Madison County, Cry Mantra, which was really bad. Really, really bad. It seems like the vibe that I'm getting is Clint Eastwood is a very simple man. He got famous for his performance in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, those old westerns, and he's been making movies competently ever since. But I don't know if there's ever been a Clint Eastwood movie, as much as I love Unforgiven and Bridges of Madison County, that is really that complex. Yeah, Clint is a interesting filmography, and I'll get to a few of my points where I'm saying like he's very like by the books, and it seems like a lot of people do like that. A lot of people do like by the books. It's just Mystic River is a bit too melodramatic, a bit too predictable, and I think the performances are just too predictable. This is an acting showcase, but given that, you kind of know how the performances are going to go. Everything feels over the top, and everything feels performative. And I don't want to just knock the actors for that, because I think the actors are great. And it also could just do with the filmmaking, because the filmmaking is pretty on the nose, objective, watching the story. Nothing crazy is going on besides maybe a few fades or crosscuts. But alas. All right. We're going to get into more spoiler territory now. So if you haven't seen Mystic River, you can still listen if you want, I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. So, Mystic River. It won 2 Oscars. Sean Penn won for leading role, and Tim Robbins won for supporting role. It was also nominated for Best Picture, supporting role for Marcia Gay Harden, director Clint Eastwood, and the Best Screenplay, Adapted Screenplay for Brian Helgeland. All right, so yeah, it was based on a book, probably called Mystic River. And I don't know too much about the adaptation, so we're just going to get into the plot points. So, at the beginning, we have the scene with the younger boys. So we have, what are their names? Let me see if I can remember them. They have that image of them writing their names in the sidewalk. So we have Dave, we have Davey, we have Sean Penn's here. No, we'd have Sean, played by Kevin Bacon. Then we have Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy, played by Sean Penn. Let me see if I'm right. Oh yeah, I'm right. Okay, so yeah, so they're just playing some hockey, in the streets of Boston. And as they're playing hockey, they see this wet sidewalk, and they're like, "Hey, yo, let's put our names in here. That lasts forever. That's pretty cool, right?" And so they're playing hockey, and then a policeman, in quotes, comes along and says, "Hey, what are you guys doing writing your names in that sidewalk?" And they get all scared, because authority. And then they take their friend Dave. They drive him away. I think, thinking back on the scene, they showed him the handcuffs. They didn't show a badge or a gun or a uniform, really. And so they take away Dave. And then it cuts to after Dave runs away, or we see a bit of him running away because he was actually captured. They're pedophiles, and they probably abused him for a few days before he escaped. So, yeah, you have that context, and that's kind of driving Dave's character later on. So later on, we have all of those 3. They're grown up, and so we have Dave, played by Tim Robbins. We have Jimmy, who's kind of the more hothead one, played by Sean Penn. And then we also have Sam, who is played by Kevin Bacon. And so all 3 of these guys definitely have different societal roles. So we have Jimmy, who owns a convenience store and is a dad and is a dick and is a mobster, kinda. He just has these 2 goons who just does things for him. So, that's cool. He did time in jail for some reason. Don't really remember what. Then we have Dave, Dave was just family man, taking his kids to school. Don't really remember his work, but family man. And then you have Sean, played by Kevin Bacon, who is a cop. In the future now, we have Sean Penn's character, Jimmy, store owner. His daughter is like, "Oh, hey, Dad, I'll see you around." And then she leaves, and she never comes back. So, yeah, the inciting incident here, we got Jimmy's daughter, who goes missing and is found dead. She's found dead, and I think it's in a well or something. But so, we have the morning stuff of him calling around and be like, "Hey guys, anybody see her? Is she with her friends? Blah, blah, blah." And it's weird because her friends are very not involved in helping the police. They're "Okay, yeah, she's dead. You can just spill the beans now, please. Okay, you don't have to protect her integrity. Just tell them what they want to know." Yeah, before she gets killed, we see that she's trying to drive away with her boyfriend. And so there's a few loose ends that they need to find. The boyfriend, who seems pretty, and then we have the 2 friends, and then we have, lastly, the last suspect, we have Tim Robbins, played by Dave. Throughout all this, Dave, on the same night, Jimmy's daughter dying, was at a bar, the same bar that they were at. They were dancing on tables, even though they're 18, for a bunch of old men. They were dancing on tables. He was just having a beer. And then when he got home, he had blood all over his hands. Clint figured out how to withhold some information from the audience. And he just says to his wife, "Oh, there was this guy that I beat up. He was like, oh, he pulled a knife on me, so I beat him up. And I think I killed him. I think I smashed his head on the sidewalk." Okay. So, Clint very ingeniously is painting a picture that, oh, look, he's a suspect. He did things that night, and we didn't see them as the audience. Whoa. I think all of these pieces that he's trying to set up feels very much like pieces being set up purposefully, and it's pretty easy to see through. Glass dominoes. Is that a term? That should be. I'm making it right now. It's glass dominoes, definition. Plot points or just ideas being set up that are really easy to see through. Because I didn't believe for a second that Dave killed her. So we have Sean's partner, Lawrence Fishburne, who's named Whitey Powers. Yes, you heard me right. They discover a few clues. So they find there's a few threads that they're trying to go off of. So Lawrence Fishburne's character is very convinced Dave being a prime suspect. They went and visited him. His hand was all beaten up, and he was out at the same bar the same night. He's very focused in on that. And then you have Kevin Bacon's character, Sean, who is very focused on the gun, it's the gun, it's not Dave, no way. I did like that idea that, yeah, because he is an old friend, he is giving him the benefit of the doubt. And they really have these two different avenues that they want to pursue, and that's bringing some conflict in. I did like that. Because, yeah, there were some gunshots in a previous crime that the murdered girl's boyfriend's father committed previously, and so they're like, oh, it's the same gun. They're connecting this gun that many people could definitely have. This crime that was committed 10 plus years ago, they're connecting it to him in the future using the same gun. Is it just me, or is that just kind of a loose? Would they really just keep the gun? I guess the kid could be like finding it at some point, which is kind of what happened in the end. But alas, okay, so yeah, there's those two threads that they're following. And it's revealed that they were suspecting the boyfriend's father. And then later on, Sean Penn reveals that he actually killed his girlfriend's he killed his daughter's boyfriend's father previously and has been sending $500 every month to make them think that he's still alive. Because the family just thinks, oh, he sends $500 every month. He's fine. He just left us. But yeah, so he did that. But again, it's like, okay, it's kind of a cool plot point that he's covering up that, but I don't know how much it really mattered in the actual resolving of the case. After that, things are getting heated up. Val Savage. Like, the last name Savage is like, I gave one of my friends a character's name, Johnny Savage, in a movie I made in high school. And Clint is just like, yeah, Val Savage. That's pretty sick. The Savage Brothers. That's what they called them, right. So, the Savage Brothers are sent to interrogate Dave. Because he's a prime suspect. He's freaking out his wife. His wife was going crazy, and she was a very good actress. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. And I did like Tim Robbins' portrayal. I did like the more psychological aspects of him having this trauma from that sexual abuse previously in his life. And him, like, when he was talking nonsense while watching TV late at night, and the wife came in and she was like, what are you saying? I think it's a really good demonstration of withholding, what's the term for it? Some English term that everyone learns in like grade 12 English class that, the audience knows something that the characters don't. Because we know his history with that sexual abuse and exactly what happens because we saw some of it on screen and she doesn't. So when he's spitting all this nonsense about maybe dying that day, dramatic irony. Thank you. I really should have known that. But So Tim Robbins, he's spitting this nonsense, being like, yeah, I died that day, and I don't know if I'm just living a lie. And her actually being like, what are you talking about? Like, you're actually crazy. I felt that. I really thought that. That was one thing. I'll give Clint props for that. So, And so the Savage Brothers, they take Tim Robbins' character, Dave, out for drinks, and he gets super drunk. And then eventually Sean Penn comes in later. And now that he's drunk, they take him out to a river, and he points a gun at him. He's like, all right, confess to killing my daughter. And he's like, what? Man, I didn't do it. And Sean Penn, I do like his portrayal, his aggressiveness, and being like, you know that Dave is just dead no matter what. No matter what he says, he's destroyed here. And Sean Penn, okay, at a point in the movie, my mom came down, and Sean Penn was on screen, and she was like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, it's about a murder mystery, blah. And she's like, oh, did Sean Penn kill somebody? I was like, Mom, it's Sean Penn. Look at him. Of course he killed somebody. He's probably killed somebody in real life. He's a scary dude. Like, he's scary. I'm scared of him. So yeah, Dave gets mucked, and at the same time, Clint Eastwood cross-cuts between them figuring out that the girl's boyfriend's brother killed her because they were playing with a gun, and they just pulled the trigger. That was very underwhelming in the end, because I think, like what I've been saying with where Clint Eastwood stuff is very, like, surface level, the fact that that was the reason that she died just felt so unimpactful. And then getting back into the end. So as the movie wraps up, you have Kevin Bacon's character coming to tell Sean Penn's character, hey man, we found the killer. But then Sean Penn's like, damn, I just killed Dave. That sucks. Didn't say it, implied it. There's these moments of them being like, oh, sometimes I think that we all got in that car and we all are trapped in this sexual abuser's house, just dreaming of what our lives would be if we grew up. And that type of metaphorical talk just feels very melodramatic. Yes, it points to their trauma and everything, and it's like this iconic saying, but it just fell flat for me. Yeah, it just felt flat. The biggest problematic thing is that Kevin Bacon's character lets him go. They're at a parade, and a bunch of kids are on this like giant baseball glove float thing. And then they see each other from across the street. Sean Penn, with his cool sunglasses and everything. You're a cop, and this guy killed somebody who was your friend. And after all this, you hit him with the oh no, he also hit him with a It's so weird. It's like Sean Penn's character sucked. As in, he was just a bad guy. And Kevin Bacon, are you just too blind to see that? Like, okay, I'm connecting it to this movie, The Little Things, with Jared Leto and, who was it, Denzel? Where the whole movie is just about a cop covering for another cop. And maybe it's just living in the cultural era that we are, where this movie of cops just like being buddy-buddy with a criminal and being like, yo, I'll let you go this once. What is that trying to say? What are you trying to say? It wasn't an accident. This guy murdered somebody because he thought he killed his daughter. Are you trying to tell the audience, hey, he was doing it because he loved his daughter so much, and in all that love and rage, you do crazy things, man. And then you have this whole thing near the end where Sean Penn is with his wife, Laura Linney, and she's like, you're a man. You do what you protect your family. You're there for your family. You do what you got to do, Don't worry about it. I don't think Clint Eastwood meant this in an ironic way. But if you take it in an ironic way to show that they're all just messed up by this event and they're all just crooked now, then, it's all right. But it really felt like he was just trying to say, like, yo, sometimes you do bad things. I don't know. It was okay. Like, I really did think that some of the plot points, like, I did like the cross-cutting between them killing Dave and figuring out who actually did the murder. That was all good. Them, like, the boyfriend finding out that his brother and his friend killed her and just, like, bashing in the kid's face with his foot before the cops show up. That was pretty sick. It was just well done. It was just brutal. Because to that point, nothing really as crazy had been shown that wasn't like a flashback of like Tim Robbins beating somebody up, So I like that. That was good. Overall, I am dogging this movie a lot for being melodramatic, for being a bit predictable and for being a bit thematically unthematic. Some of the ideas worked well. Like, so, there are some moments that worked well. Yeah, like the cross-cutting. They were heading in the right direction with the, oh, I think we all got in that car metaphoric talk, but it just felt very explainy. That's just Clint Eastwood. He knows how stories work. He knows what a metaphor is. His directing style is never going to be that flashy or that thematically relevant. And that is to quite a fault because he's never able to make these impactful show don't tell moments because he's just going to tell you. I was just about to say it's like he's writing a book, but it is based off a book. Okay. And I think the book probably is better because of this. But I'm not going to read it. But, you know. Also, something else that I wrote down was a weird plot point with the cops where they're like, there's this, as they have these suspects with like the gun, and then Dave is the other suspect. So we have like the boyfriend's father and then Dave as the two suspects. And then they look at each other and they're like, you listen back to that 911 call, right? And the other one's like, no, I thought you did. And then that led to like some piece of evidence that was imperative to them finding out who it is. Okay, that was just a little stupid on their part. But yeah, I think that's most of what I had to say. I think that, like I was saying earlier, along with the Clint Eastwood being a bit like bland directorially, that you've just seen this movie done better. Just watch Gone Girl. Just watch Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Just watch Gone Baby Gone. All movies that I think are better than this. Gone Girl and Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, both top tier. Love them. It was alright, honestly. It's like, yeah, it's very Oscar baity, performance heavy, theatrical, melodramatic. And I enjoy watching this movie. I don't think that it's the type of movie that I'm just going to dissect and talk a lot about. So yeah, I am going to end it off. There's not much to say. Guy lost his daughter, very mad. It's the short log line. Oh, before I go, a few fun facts about this movie that I just saw was that Clint Eastwood was the composer, which was cool. I dug the music. It wasn't bad. And then Warner Brothers wanted to shoot in Toronto to save money, but Clint Eastwood wanted the authentic Boston experience. So he shot in Boston. Could have been Toronto. But alas. Okay, so there we have it. Mystic River. And I need to choose a movie for next week. So, I want to watch Your Name. It's one of my girlfriend's favorite movies. I've heard it's a great one. And I've been trying to convince my brother to watch it. And so I haven't watched it myself. But I really just want to watch it. So, Lisa, I think this is a one that you would definitely like. I don't know. Have you seen it, Lisa? No. All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard great things. Don't know too much about it. I know one of my friends was telling me earlier that this director has another movie that's coming out this year. I don't know if it's came out already. I remember him talking about when we were talking about some of the movies that we were looking forward to watching. Oh yeah, I remember this this door here. So it has 63 views. So it probably hasn't been seen yet, which is good. I mean, what do I mean? Which means it's not been seen yet. It's not out yet. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to exploring this director because I know Weathering with You is on something. I think it's on Hoopla, which is cool. So yeah, Your Name. Looking forward to it.